Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Oh, that's tacky. That's really tacky.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast. On this episode, my weird dad and his friends will be talking about...
What? You've only seen Murder by Death once? Twice? 3 times? No good! Laboratory tests have shown that in order to receive the required dosage of laughter, the normal moviegoer must see Murder by Death at least 4 times. What is it?
I have to go to the can again. I don't want to miss nothing.
It's the funniest mystery in history. Murder by Death, rated PG.
Now at theaters and drive-ins everywhere. Check your local newspaper for listing.
Hello and welcome to Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror. This is Mark Bigley, your host. Joining me once again, the host of the Culture Cast, Mr. Chris Stachiw.
You know, Mark, I think this may be the last time I come on your show.
Uh-oh.
I am deeply, deeply offended that you would make me watch this movie. That is, simply put, a poor facsimile of Clue. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Where did you think I was going? You think I'm some sort of wokester? What is this? Am I a wokester?
I'm looking for the eject button on here, actually.
Yeah, he's been muted, and now he's been removed from the call entirely.
And we'll be editing all of that out. Joining me, the only other person joining me tonight is the host of the Projection Booth podcast, Mr. Mike White.
I don't get something, Pop. There was a murder, wasn't there?
Oh, God. Oh.
Weekend.
Oh. About an hour and a half of my time is what it really killed, more than anything else.
What a... Okay. Tonight, we are talking about the 1976 film Murder by Death, written by Neil Simon, but not based on one of his plays, and directed by Robert Moore, not Roger Moore, and starring in diabolical order Eileen Brennan, Truman Capote, James Coco, Peter Falk, Alec Guinness, Elsa Lanchester, David Niven, Peter Sellers, Maggie Smith, as well as James Cromwell, Richard Narita, Nancy Walker, and Estelle Winwood in a send-up of old dark house movies, murder mystery movies, and we are spoofing some famous detectives in this, which we will get to shortly. So, Chris, I take it this was a first-time watch for you. What did you think? As if we didn't already know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe you edited it. This is a post-production show, so maybe you edited that part out. I can never know. You'll have to edit this part out, too, if you don't leave it in. It's funny. It wasn't last year, but I think it was the year of our Lord 2021. Mike, you and I did No Jack and Co., which is very much
Murder Can Hurt You. Yes.
Right. Also, I like the title No Jack and Co. more, which is the other title, I believe, right? That's yes. The other title. That and this share a lot, obviously. I think it has similar problems. I think this one has more problems, and no, not Peter Sellers in Yellowface. That's its own ball of wax that we will have to deal with at some point and talk about. But I had never seen it before. It piqued my interest, given that I spent the last year reading a lot of the kinds of books that these characters would appear in. So I was primed and ready to enjoy it. And it's almost like the movie hates the audience and wants the audience to go fuck itself at the end of the movie. By the end of the movie, it kind of does what I mentioned, Clue. It kind of does what Clue does, but Clue actually lands that bullshit ending that this movie pulls. They have the same climax in a lot of ways. It's like, no, it's you, and no, it's you. And Clue kind of goes even further, but because Clue commits to it completely, I think it works a little bit better. I think this movie's okay. I can kind of already sense that there may be some nostalgia glasses here that I'm missing about the ability to enjoy and maybe even the perceived quality of said film.
And Mike, how about you?
Sorry, that was a long answer. What was the question?
Wow.
What's your experience with this film?
Just want me to say it was good.
I watched this movie, I think, when it was first out theatrically. I don't remember watching very many movies when I was super young, other than Star Wars, but I do remember Murder by Death, which came out a year before Star Wars. I would have been 4 years old at the time. I know for sure my folks took me to see it. I don't know if it was this original release or if it was a revival release. I remember really liking it as a kid. I would watch it on TV whenever it was on, and I still was laughing. Unlike Chris, I had a wonderful experience going back and watching this movie, and it actually caused me to finally watch The Cheap Detective, which was kind of interesting as well. I think I like this more than The Cheap Detective, though I imagine it's probably one of those which one you saw first and which one you grew up with. I'll fully admit I probably am watching this with nostalgia glasses on, but I love these performances. I really just enjoy every stupid joke that this movie has to offer. I will tell you that I was in a stage play when I was in high school that is very similar to Murder by Death, if not a direct ripoff of Murder by Death. Kind of like when we covered Arsenic and Old Lace. I was talking on that episode about a play called Anybody for Tea. There was a play by Tim Kelly called The Butler Did It, in which there are characters like Chandler Marlowe, imagine who that is, Louis Fan, who is a Charlie Chan copycat, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, I went in Yellowface as Louis Fan for my high school play version of The Butler Did It. So I'm not proud.
You're going to get Justin Trudeau style canceled, man.
You can even see photos of me on my Facebook when I'm like 17 with this fake goatee, which is hilarious that I ended up with a real one, dyed black with like my black hair, yellow face, and white outfit with my little fan that I had. So there you go.
That was the outing of yourself you were going to do?
That was the outing. Yeah, that was me saying, yes, I played Yellowface, and I spoke in all the horrible broken English and was changing all of the L's to R's and R's to L's and just really overdoing it.
Wow, Mike, you could have just left it and I did. I did this, and then I did this, and I really committed to it for like 6 months. I never dropped character.
I committed to that role, man. I was really into drama club. I probably was no good whatsoever, but I really committed to those roles.
I would like to know the date and time so that when we invent a time machine, we can go back in time and be in the audience to see you doing Yellowface.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. I would like to go back and see that myself.
Right? Like,
I imagine just like, oh, that performance. Oh, and then the racial stuff on top of it.
God.
Yeah.
Saw this when I was young, but I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it when it played on TV. I'm not sure if it was when Peter Sellers died, because I know that the TV stations played Pink Panther movies, the Mouse That Roared thing, just everything that they could get their hands on to capitalize on that, of course. It might have been earlier. I know I had some recollection or some idea of who Alec Guinness was because of Star Wars, so it could have been shortly after that, sometime between when it was released and probably 1980, and would try and catch it each time it played on TV because I know that I really enjoyed this movie from the first time. I feel like I've watched it more than I probably did because it stuck with me. Like the first time I watched it as an adult was probably sometime in the last 5 years, but I remembered every beat of it and a lot of the lines, a lot of the Peter Sellers lines mostly, because that probably appeals to a juvenile sense of humor more than some of the other stuff. But I hadn't seen it for decades, sometime between, probably the mid 80s to the mid 2000s. Hadn't seen it, but I always remembered it fondly, knew it would be problematic going back to it. Knew that when I showed it to my daughter and said, there's going to be something in here that wouldn't happen today, most likely. It would be handled a much different way. And it was because we watched Clue. She had wanted to watch Clue because I think some of her friends had been talking about it. Watched Clue. I didn't care for Clue. We can go back and forth on that, Chris.
Which I totally also 100% get why you would not like Clue. 100% understand.
And I said, you want to watch a good one of these? Let's watch Murder by Death.
Whoa.
Damn, dude.
It happened to be streaming somewhere at the time, or I had maybe recorded it when it played on TCM within the last year or so before that. And I can't say which one she likes more, but I know that she has watched it with me numerous times since then and has watched it the 2 times that I watched for the show. So obviously she enjoys it well enough. We talked about it briefly, her and I, on when she would visit the show from time to time, and she mentioned the yellow face and the issues with that. And I think it's definitely something that we'll talk about further. But like you, Mike, I think the dumb humor, the wordplay, the really mild double entendres and stuff, there's not. I mean, this is a very
chaste
PG, I mean, like almost G. A couple of lines, if they were out of this, it would probably be G-rated. There's just a little bit of sexual innuendo and gay baiting and homophobia and things like that. Well, maybe it isn't so close to a G, but it is pretty tame and probably didn't have to cut a whole lot for TV when they showed it. But it's just something that has always resonated with me for whatever reason. And since we're knee-deep in spoof territory right now, going through the Police Squad show and Naked Gun, and because of that episode you mentioned, Chris, that you guys did, I know you talked about it a little bit on that episode. The spoof part, and I didn't get any of this when I was a kid. I think the only familiar character would have been the Charlie Chan spoof.
Yep.
I didn't know who anybody else was spoofing. I thought Peter Falk was spoofing Columbo. I had no idea it was supposed to be bogey characters, Marlowe or Sam Spade or whoever. It's a combination of all that stuff. Seeing it as an adult, I finally got, Dick and Dora Charleston, or Nick and Nora Charles from The Thin Man. Sidney Wang is obviously Charlie Chan. Jessica Marbles is... What is her first name?
Miss Marple. Yeah.
And Milo Perrier is Hercule Poirot. And who am I leaving out here?
That's pretty much it.
I think that's everybody.
And Sam Diamond. Peter Falk plays Sam Diamond, which is basically Sam Spade. So it's spoofing those characters and the old dark. I get the old dark house vibe from this a lot, with inviting a group of characters that all have some connection to the owner of the house. Then we also have this idea of a competition to see who can figure out who the murderer is. It's one of those things that was pretty prevalent back in the 70s and is still happening to this day.
I was getting a lot of Knives Out and Glass Onion while I was watching this as well as the Clue stuff, definitely.
Clue, I mean, Knives Out, I told my daughter, I said, if that old lady in the first Knives Out isn't pointing in the direction of the nurse in this, then I don't know. That would be such a huge coincidence. But her just sitting there the whole time in Knives Out and never really saying anything just makes me think of Estelle Winwood in this.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Knives Out. I would actually, as much as it may have, like you kind of mentioned, Mike, seem like I didn't enjoy this movie, I actually liked it more than Knives Out. I think the issue with Murder by Death is not the performances, it's that the plot tries to be too clever for its own good. And I think even if you enjoy this movie, you could like 100% like agree on that. Because I think that's my biggest issue with the movie is I really don't like when movies kind of waggle their dick at you, as it were. You know what I mean? It kind of feels like it's like, meh, I'm so smart and you're so stupid. And it's like, you can land that if you do it right. Like the performances in this movie are fantastic. This is better than Murder Can Hurt You because the characters that they're playing, they have less characters in this movie than they do in that one. And in that one, it becomes so crowded that they just become one-liners as opposed to fully kind of formed characters. And in this movie, these, for the most part, they're all pretty well done. James Coco, I think, more or less steals the show throughout. But if we're talking kind of like this canon of these kinds of things, I think this is the best one of these kinds, even including more contemporary ones. When you crowd these movies with like 30 different people in an ensemble cast, it doesn't give the movie enough time to give anybody anything to do. And I think this movie has the balance just right.
I mean, this movie doesn't make any sense when it comes to the actual sense of it. The whole idea of
the gag, though, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Alec Guinness, spoilers, not being blind, but playing all those scenes as a blind man, him and Nancy Walker not even existing, that she's supposed to be a mannequin. It doesn't make any sense, but it's funny. It's far enough away from when you see Nancy Walker, it's far enough away from him playing the blind man that it's like, oh, okay, and you kind of forget about that stuff. And then when you do remember, it's like, well, that it's just funny because it doesn't really make any sense that he was doing that anyway.
Do any of them exist?
No.
Does Truman Capote exist?
No, because he pulls
Alec
off
Guinness
his face
exist?
and yeah.
So none of them exist
so
but
many
Nancy
different
Walker,
things.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really like that reveal scene where you can see in Alec Guinness's body language the way that he's changing, because they keep talking about these different characters that he's supposed to be. Oh, you're actually this, and no, you're actually this person who killed this person. No, you're actually this person who killed this person and this person. And that it just keeps changing his body language because he doesn't have a whole lot of lines during that, as it's all of the detectives giving, the true story of who this character is.
I think the best thing about that scene is all of the ways that they describe what happened are kind of hewing close to the expectations of how their stories normally play out. And then you have the Truman Capote, not Truman Capote character, even needling them further about those specific, plot twists or ways that their stories end up, like with Miss Marple, the whole you're withholding clues thing, which is, it is totally
that
true.
Was good.
It's really, I will say, and I know that it's mentioned in doing some research about the movie, I will say Sherlock Holmes should have been in this in some capacity.
Yeah.
It's such a massive apparent spot that they're missing, and this would have been way beyond public domain. Like I know that there's a deleted scene and everything. That should have been not a addition to, it should have been a primary part of this, because if you're going to do a movie about these kinds of characters, you can't forget the character that started it all.
I really wish that I would have been able to see those deleted scenes. I've never seen those. I didn't even know they existed until this last time watching the movie and then going to IMDb and being like, really? Oh, I never knew that these things existed.
It says they're on the in the TV edit, and I'm thinking, I know it's been decades since I last watched it on TV, but I don't remember any of it either. That doesn't mean I didn't see that version on TV. It seems like those were added back to pad the time. Yeah, I don't have any recollection of them either. I don't know. The only thing that I think would bother me about the addition of Sherlock Holmes would be more of an anachronism, because these are all 30s and 40s characters. I don't know how old the Agatha Christie characters are, but when I think about the movies with them, with Miss Marple or Poirot, and even though the movie is supposed to take place in a contemporary time period, it harkens back more to the 30s and 40s than anything else. And I don't know, Sherlock Holmes to me is quite earlier than that.
I think that could have been part of the jokes, though. I think that would have been the easy direction to go with the jokes, is kind of, playing into he doesn't understand any of this.
Right,
but
right.
I would be inclined to agree with you, but this is a movie about not characters from TV or film, about fucking literary characters. I get it, but like Sherlock Holmes is the literary detective, period. Even if you like Miss Marple or Poirot or anybody else, they all come from that one spot. Even to leave the cameo out is weird. This is the one time anybody ever did anything like this. Just leaving that out feels like a missed opportunity, but everybody else is so good that you kind of just don't care.
It would be nice to see them pass him at the end. That would be a good end joke.
Yeah.
Let him go ahead and figure it out for himself.
Right. The stories of Sherlock Holmes were taking place. They were Victorian as far as I remember, but I thought that they were close to like the turn of the century. So not that far. And not that far removed from some of these authors. And I mean, a lot of people like your Philip Marlowe, like your Sam Spade, like those were coming out of Black Mask, which was only like 20 years after that, maybe. But it does feel like he's from a different country, but from a different age. Because I think even Charlie Chan, I mean, he's basically from Honolulu, but everybody else, Nick and Nora, they're more mid-Atlantic. They're like New Yorkish. Sam Spade is over on the coast in San Francisco or Los Angeles. I mean, all of these other detectives are, well, I guess it's British and Belgian.
Right.
Even with Miss Marples and Hercule Poirot, they feel more contemporary than a Holmes does, for me anyway. It could just be the style of dress, and also that we still get these characters, especially with Kenneth Branagh. And man, I mean, talk about not working. That Death on the Nile version that he did. God, that was terrible. Wow. And I really liked Murder on the Orient Express. I did not like Death on the Nile, especially compared to the Ustinov version.
Yeah, we watched that one night and thought, oh, that's right. There was one before this. Should we bother? Do we want to?
Well, the Ustinov version is good, but I'd say even better than that is the episode of the Poirot TV show that they did. And we've been we started at the beginning and watched all of the Poirot that's available on BritBox. So I just sat through all of that. Yeah.
David Suchet is Poirot. Like,
he's really good.
Kenneth Branagh with that ridiculous mustache.
Oh God, yeah.
and its origin story.
Yes.
They should do a parody where every time they cut back to him, his mustache just gets larger and larger to the point where he's just a mustache with arms and legs.
He was 6'1", mustache. That's a really big mustache.
That'll be in the new Zaz spoof on these. His ever-changing mustache.
Well, that's the thing. I was wondering, like, could you do something like this now? I mean, are there ubiquitous enough literary characters that this is a thing? Like, I think what's really fun about this movie is it came out in a time and place where you could do this. Like, now, what are you going to do? Like, get all the characters that have all their adaptations already? Like, most characters that are detectives, I know that some people might take umbrage with this, but Jack Reacher's a detective. What's the other one? Harry Bosch is a detective. Like, most of these characters are now detectives. It's just masquerading as something else. So they all have their own shows. So there's not even a need to do this anymore. It's kind of, I don't know, like you could do a parody, but I think what's fun is that these kind of all work together even as they work separately. I don't think putting like Bosch and Jack Reacher in a room together to solve a mystery would really work. I mean, maybe it would, one of Janet Ivanovich's characters. Like, I don't know if that would work, but these characters all kind of tonally work together.
It would get into that area where a lot of the spoofs and parodies that fail for me go is too specific.
Parodying a movie specifically.
These characters are all very broadly drawn as parodies of the literary characters that they're spoofing. There's kind of a specific Casablanca reference in here.
A couple of them.
Lost my girlfriend when the French invaded, or when the Germans invaded France, and that gets played out more in The Cheap Detective. That's part of one of the whole plot lines in that. Everybody else, if they're referring to specific cases, it's lost on me. I don't have a huge background in any of these characters' stories, but it's just more, Miss Marbles is the
genteel, elderly British woman. Dick and Dora Charleston are the snooty mid-Atlantic people, like you said, although they're both British and they have British accents. So that's...
Yeah. They're playing them a lot different than Powell and Lloyd, definitely. And they don't drink nearly as much. I mean, that's the thing that I love. And that might not be in the books. I haven't read the story of the Thin Man, but the movie, I mean, you feel like an alcoholic just watching that movie. It's amazing.
They usually have a martini in their hands throughout all of this. When they first show up and almost get hit by the gargoyle, she has a martini in her hand somehow.
That's true.
I think they even have them when they're on the side of the road when they first show up. And one thing that I really enjoy about this is the structure of the movie makes it easy for me to follow, because I can get lost when we've got an ensemble cast and lots of different things going on. We start with apparently Lionel Twain writing the letters.
Great name, by the way. Just like
we get a shot of each of the envelopes with who's being invited. Vincent Mum comes in and stamps the envelopes. That's always one of those things that bothered me. Cinema Sins. Well, how did they get the letters? I'll just get that out of the way right now.
There's a lot of Cinema Sins stuff in this movie.
That goes towards the absurdity of the film, because I think it has that absurdity line. But I like how we're getting introduced to the characters and also intercutting that with the house being set up to be spooky. We have a gloved figure going through the house, pulling one of the hands off of clock, turning screws on the door so that it's squeaky as opposed to being not squeaky. We see the characters as they're driving up to the mansion and trying to guess why they're being invited to this mansion at 22 Twain, or 22 Lola Lane, actually, but the placard says 22 Twain. And that's one of the jokes that when I would watch this with my dad would just absolutely bust him up. That whole Lionel Twain, which is, of course, a gag with the Lionel Train sets that they made, and then 22 Twain, if you say it. Say it enough times, you'll get it.
It's so fucking stupid.
But it makest you laugh.
It's like the daddiest dad joke of all dad jokes. Like, they keep doing it.
Oh, boy,
I do appreciate that they keep doing it. And that Truman Capote is Lionel Twain. Of all the people to get for your goddamn movie, Truman Capote. All right.
He was one of those guys that was like Andy Warhol back then, who you heard about and knew about even as a kid, like my age. I had no idea like why he was famous, but you heard the name all the time, or he was on the Love Boat or whatever. Andy Warhol was more like that, but
yeah, he was all over talk shows too.
Yeah,
like on the Mike Douglas show and Merv Griffith and all these guys.
Yeah,
it's a personality, right?
Personality, right?
Well, and his voice is not nearly as bad as Philip Seymour Hoffman was making his voice.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God! Thank you.
Oh,
check out the other Capote movie with Toby Jones. I think his version is much better.
Seymour Hoffman's I can hear Philip Seymour Hoffman doing his voice in my head. As someone who spent a lot of the last year reading and kind of just throwing myself into books, an author I started reading recently who also has a weird affectation is William S. Burroughs. And I hope to God they don't make a movie about his life, because the person who will have to do his voice will either do what Philip Seymour Hoffman did, which is like overdo it beyond words and make Truman Capote like apparently the most gay man known to man. Like, I don't know what Philip Seymour Hoffman's thing he was doing in that movie was.
In cold blood.
Truman Capote is so good in this, doing a role that is very not exciting.
Yeah, it's thankless.
Yeah, very much so.
It's just an odd choice to have him be the guy.
I loved him as the way that he was correcting all of the Charlie Chan things, and
yes,
use your goddamn
prepositions.
Pronouns. Use pronouns.
So, should we now that
the elephant in the room?
Now that we've opened this box, as they would say, should we talk a little bit about Peter Sellers as Charlie Chan?
In 1976, this was not a big deal.
I don't think they gave a rip about it.
Tony Randall Christopher Lee. I mean, this was quite a thing, man. White people playing yellowface.
16 candles, man. I mean,
what? 16 candles? That was not yellowface.
I was being facetious. I'm talking more about the way that Asians are used in media, period.
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, again, like the yellow face is bad, but it's not just the yellow face, right? The yellow face
is
the
English. It's
the everything. Like
he's playing him exactly the way that he was played. I mean, maybe a little bit more than the various versions of Charlie Chan that had been played over the years, but even those Charlie Chans it was the same fucking thing. It's like you get an Asian person as the son, and then you take this white actor and you put him in yellow face, or it's black and white most of the time. So who cares? And they were always like British actors that were doing this. So it's just another in a long tradition. I mean, it's not as bad as Peter Lorre when he played Mr. Moto, but the thing that really got me was that they can't decide if Charlie Chan is Chinese or Japanese because they keep vacillating between the two.
I mean, this is not nearly as bad as, speaking of Truman Capote.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney
in Breakfast at Tiffany's. I mean, obviously, Mike, like you said, this is the character. I think it could have worked, and I think it would be more, again, this is how you would do it now, like they did in Tropic Thunder, right? Where it's like, we're sending up the people who do this, less what it is. It's more about the people who think that they are so in tune with things that they can do this and it's somehow okay. That's the right way of doing it. This is a completely different way of looking at it. At the same time, the fact that he's more or less playing it straight, I think does kind of work. It is offensive, but he is more or less a white, like you said, a white man in yellow makeup, which is what it was. Like that's what it was when they were doing it anyways. So,
by the way, I have to apologize. The two actors that I know the most for being Charlie Chan were Warner Oland and Sidney Toler, and they are both Americans. They're not British. So I think Peter Ustinov also played him, and Ross Martin, our friend from Suitable for Framing from Columbo.
All famous Asian actors.
Yes, famous Asian people.
To my point and to your point, he was never played by an Asian actor. So
I take it as that's not the joke here, but that's what they're going for.
Right. They knew. They're not fucking stupid. They knew that's this was.
The only time he was actually played by an Asian person up to this point was Key Luke actually doing his voice for The Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Hey, at least they had the sense to have an Asian actor the voice. Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier because I knew it would come up. There are a couple different ways to go around this, and one of them could have been he's in makeup playing this character, and when like he and his adopted son are in their room together, he's out of character.
That'd be nice.
Yep.
Or even have an Asian American actor. James Hong was working at this time. Have him play the character with the broken English in front of the other people and in his room with his son, adopted son number 3, be like, Dad, why do you do that?
That's what they expect of me.
Nobody's going to hire an Asian guy that's smarter than them, that they think is smarter than them.
Oh, God damn it. I want this now so badly, Begley. You son of a bitch. How could you do this to us? You made this movie lacking so hard now because it would have been so much better. Just that little turn.
Either one of those would have been pretty easy to do.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
and
for sure.
Of course, if someone turns this on after listening to this episode or whatever, I always post it when I watch it. If someone decides, I'll give this a chance, and they stop it 5 minutes into the movie because they see Peter Sellers in that makeup and with the teeth and the eyes and the yellow makeup and the broken English, I wouldn't fault them. But it's like the other actors that you've mentioned that have played this. And do we stop watching all these movies because of that, or do we have a conversation about it? And full well knowing that it wouldn't happen today unless it was. That's the other thing I have in my head when I watch this is the Tropical Thunder bit with Robert Downey Jr. Not that that's what they're doing here. I see it as they're taking that history of the character and playing with it here. He's not the butt of
any jokes. I mean, Sam Diamond says offensive things to him because that would be his character, to be insensitive to ethnic groups, right?
Calls Poirot Frenchie at one point.
Calls him Frenchie, says
I'm not a Frenchie, I'm a Belgie.
Belgie.
She goes backwards on a couple of times in the text of the movie. He's just as smart as everybody else there. And they lambast the broken English. You know, use your goddamn prepositions, use your articles, use your pronouns. Truman Capote.
Don't try to tell me to use pronouns.
Yeah.
Jesus never used pronouns.
Yeah, my pronouns are he because I'll never be him. What was what I heard the other day was my pronouns are like chocolate, they're Hershey.
Okay.
Oh?
Sure.
Is that what you call an uncomfortable silence?
I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, Mike, how dare you bring your agenda into this show?
I know, my woke agenda.
Like I mentioned earlier, not beside this, we have a little bit of gay baiting. We have some
oh my god
homophobia with Sam Diamond.
I feel like the gay baiting was worse. Like I feel like the gay baiting was just like came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, and then you were gay. Like, wait, what? Like, wait.
Well, I mean, you've got Truman Capote as the bad guy, and then there's also like, all the gay stuff when it comes to
Peter
the
Falk.
real Lionel Twain or whoever the murderer is, Benson Mom.
Yeah,
and then all the stuff with Sam Diamond. You know how to Twain picked him up in a gay bar. I was working
$50 a day
straight.
Right. Sam, we got to talk about all those bodybuilder magazines.
Suspects.
I felt like that was more egregious.
Yeah, and I think it's just
if it's egregious at all, frankly, like, I don't know.
Taking the piss out of the tough guy model.
That's what I felt
the
too.
Sam Spade and Philip Marlowe characters, which I think if you read those books and watch those films, you're going to get a lot of those tough guys. What are they covering up for? Why are they acting so tough?
Maybe instead of being hard boiled, they're a little soft boiled, if you know what I mean.
They play with it a little bit in The Cheap Detective too.
Well, they definitely played just with homosexuality overall. I mean, with Joel Cairo, speaking of Peter Lorre, Wilmer, and Gutman inside of Maltese Falcon, all three of them are gay characters.
Right.
Peter Falk's good in this, though.
He's good.
Oh.
Speaking of gay characters.
It really is kind of a fight between him and Coco as to who is the stronger character.
Every time I watch it, I pick somebody new. I like Dick and Dora. I love a lot of her lines.
And she's right. I think she solves the mystery pretty.
She and, is it Perrier? I think are both correct on it before anybody else.
And man, Maggie Smith is so good.
She is very funny in this.
Yeah, what a surprise. As someone who is a fan of Harry Potter, I know seeing her later in her career and then Downton Abbey, she's great here.
Oh, she's amazing.
She has really good comedic timing, too.
Yes,
which is not something people my age would necessarily know her for.
It's really sad to me, because I love Elsa Lanchester, and I don't think that she gets enough here. And I really wanted her to have more to this.
I agree. I mean, same with James Cromwell, frankly. I mean, I know it's his first role, but James Cromwell's amazing in everything. Everything.
Cromwell goes on to be, that whole thing was amazing. But didn't Cromwell go on to be in The Cheap Detective as well?
Yeah, he's in there too. So Eileen Brennan, Peter Falk, of course, Cromwell, and
I think Coco might have also
James
had a role.
Coco.
Yes, James Coco.
Yeah, I had never actually seen that before until watching this. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I was kind of thinking, is it a sequel? But no, definitely not.
Yeah, I had read a couple years ago, just looking up the movie and then seeing that down below and assuming it was a sequel written by Simon, directed by Robert Morgan. At least 4 or 5 people from the movie are in there. But no, it's more of a real spoof on those Marlowe. A Bogart, actually, I should say, because it's Casablanca and the Maltese Falcon.
The Madeline Kahn character, Miss Montenegro, how every time she shows up, she has different names and it just keeps lying and lying and lying. And that was a good bit. I mean, that really, was very Mary Astor. Yeah, I liked talking about Bogart. in Murder by Death, the whole like, you know how to whistle, don't you? And she's like, yeah, of course I do.
You just
ruined it now.
You ruined the bit.
You know how to whistle, don't you, baby?
Certainly. What do you mean?
All right, never mind. Forget it. You ruined it.
Like we were talking about with Maggie Smith, what does she say? And they're talking about who would want to steal a dead body, and then he leans in and tells her,
"Oh God,
that's tacky. That's really tacky." I just love her delivery of that.
Oh, that's tacky. That's really tacky.
There are so many good performances in this, and that's what I can't say it saves it for me, because I like the tomfoolery of the script. I love the nonsensicalness of it. I just enjoy this movie from top to bottom.
I don't have an issue with that ending, because I believe that's what they're building up to the whole time.
I guess I don't have an issue with it. The more we sit here and talk about it, it really feels like the movie is it's cutesy, right? We all have to agree it's cutesy what they're doing. It's like
it's silly
for
me.
Right. Yeah. I guess for me it's just, I don't know. I get it. I actually get it. Like I get the appeal. It's just it's maybe a little too silly for me. Maybe that's it. Which, again, like, y'all totally get, I'm sure. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe the part that kind of bugs me is when they show the Nancy Walker character at the end with the mask. Because then it's just like, what? So nothing mattered then, right? Okay.
That's a head scratcher.
Right. And so, like, maybe that for me, it's just like the movie is just like, and nothing matters. So the second time I watched it, I kind of got that more. I understood it more. But again, I think the ending of this and Clue are very similar. I think this just kind of goes in a more absurd angle. Clue wants to give you an answer to that question. This movie is not really interested in solving the murder because, like you mentioned with your quote at the beginning, Mike, there isn't one unless he's killing himself. Which is what I guess they kind of even say that at one point. They're like, oh, he could have killed himself. And it's like, well, I guess kind of did.
Part of it is, what age were you when you saw Clue, Chris, the first time?
12.
See, and I was seeing this when I was young. I didn't see Clue until just a few years ago. I remember when it came out, and I probably would have been about the same age as you when you first saw it. But I just remember the whole controversy, quote unquote, as far as if you go to see it at a movie theater, you might see this ending or this ending or this ending, that weird gimmick that they were doing.
Right.
And it wasn't until it hit home video that they put all the endings on. And I was just like, I don't want to go to a movie theater. And I don't know if that's even true. If they did have different versions at different theaters.
They did. I believe
okay.
So.
I was just like,
that's real. Yeah.
I was offended even as a kid. I was just like, well, I don't want to go to a movie theater and see one ending and then have to go rewatch the entire film to see a different ending. I'm trying to think of another gimmicky type of thing that they've done like that recently. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I'll wait. And it was before home video was really even a thing. And then I just waited forever and I kept seeing those gifs of Madeline Kahn, just fire flames, all that. And I'm just like, I have to see this movie now. And then that cast, I was just like, oh my God, why didn't I ever see this before? I mean, Tim Curry is freaking amazing. And then Colleen Camp, holy shit. As a 12-year-old boy, I really would have liked that movie.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I mean, you beat me to it. You're completely right. You know, if I think if I had seen this first, I would feel probably the way you feel about Clue.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel the same way. I saw it first.
I mean, I liked Clue a lot when I saw it, but
yeah, I get it though.
Like, wasn't my first love. Yeah,
right. And to be fair, I mean, the whole thing with the ending, like, I think maybe it's taking the gimmick a little too far, but at the same time, like, it's kind of dumb. It's like William Castle level of dumb. Like that's like, like the Tingler. It'll get you in your seat. Like there's a different ending at 3 different movie theaters. Like, okay, it's kind of dumb, but it's kind of ingenious. Nobody else has done it since.
That's an infuriating cheat to me. This movie cheats at the end, but that at least it's one. You're seeing the only cheat.
But there is like one ending at the end of Clue. Like there is the one. I mean, if you watch it now in any release, there is a ending that is the ending.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, no version of the movie you would have watched in the theater would be the version you get on the home release. So I don't know. Clue's weird. I think it has been reappraised a lot recently.
I see a lot of love for it out there.
Yeah, I think this movie deserves some of it too. I think it's just, the whole yellow face thing is probably what's keeping that. Because these characters are still relevant. These characters are still literary relevant characters. Jesus Christ. People are more into Agatha Christie now than they probably ever have been, because so many people are doing these like Agatha Christie riffs, like Lucy Foley's The Guest List, like a couple years ago, which is essentially just then there were none, but in like 2020. So I feel like this movie, if people could get past the yellow face, which again, not asking people to, because I get it. I think there's an audience for this movie. I think Kino or somebody would probably find an audience with this movie. I think, it's just unfortunate that yellow face is not a good look ever.
When people talk about the new Knives Out, or when they talked about it in the past, this is my suggestion for this kind of old dark house setup, locked room murder.
Right. I mean, that was the Sherlock Holmes thing, man. Let's, how did this happen in this house or on this island?
That's a big portion of the second act of this movie, is them trying to stay in that one room so that they can avoid one of them getting killed, and then they keep getting pulled out. And of course, that's when the murder happens. I do love the silliness of it. It's my kind of silly. It does hit on some of the same silliness as Airplane or Police Squad, and with wordplay, or with a lot of that is due to the accents of either Poirot or Wang, the absurdities of having all this amazing electronic equipment in the house that can move a whole room so that you get a room filled with empty people, which is one of my favorite lines from the film.
Room filled with empty people.
And they have a weather machine, too.
The weather machine. I love all the eyeballs poking out of paintings and the moose head and that stuff, just for whatever reason. And if it's nostalgia, that's fine. But I have seen movies that I saw when I was a kid that don't work for me anymore. This one still works. I like the jokes in this. I think the jokes land more than they don't. Other than the frustrating ending, it's still really fun to watch. Cheap Detective, I don't know that I'll go back to that. It had a lot of the same kind of humor, but it was a little too specific and had a lot of different story threads, too many story threads. Seemed like a lot of it wasn't fleshed out, but I know that I will return to this movie annually, if not more.
It still works for me. I don't know if I just give Peter Sellers a pass because he was always doing makeup things and just his whole...
He's a pretty subversive comedian. Like, he was not playing what everybody else expected all the time. Like, this is in his wheelhouse, right?
Well, and he was very difficult to work with from everything that I've heard as well. His whole thing of like, oh, I'm going to play this French inspector, and just as the Frenchest French inspector ever, to the point where I think even like the other French people, like Herbert Lom, I think is supposed to be French as well. He can't even understand them sometimes. Putting on makeup, doing different roles, all this kind of stuff. I'm surprised that it wasn't him doing every single detective role. It was kind of a coup having him and Alec Guinness in the same movie, since they were kind of known for the same thing between, what was it, the Lavender Hill Mob, where Guinness played like 7 or 8 characters, and you get Dr. Strangelove, where he's playing at least 3 characters, Peter Sellers that is, and I think he would play multiple characters in multiple things. I think the only person that was missing was Jerry Lewis, and now Eddie Murphy, who also really loves to do that stuff.
Peter Sellers gets to work with Alec Guinness again, and who was his idol apparently. And like you said, I think it was Kind Hearts and Cornets, where it's the 9 characters that Guinness plays.
Thank you. Totally whiffed that one.
He gets to do a little bit of that at the end here, and having, talked about the man in the white suit and not really realizing that Guinness did that before Sellers, and then Sellers has done that, and doesn't really play different characters in Lolita, but he acts like different people in that. And then, of course, Strangelove, and it's also not the first time that he's played a non-white character.
I was about to say, his last movie, he plays Dr. Fu Manchu in his last movie, too.
Well, and he does an Indian character in The Party.
That's right.
Which
is almost more, yeah. It would make Apu go, oh, that is too much, my friend. Yeah.
Yes. Again, it's not something that they gave much thought to back then.
I mean, to be fair, they do now, but barely.
Right.
Only when they get in trouble for it. Because they still don't cast actors that are Middle Eastern in a lot of movies, like Black Adam.
Well, look at Naked Gun 33 1/3 that we just watched. There's still that low-level racism throughout the film.
Right. Yeah.
So-
It hasn't gone away. It's just you can't be as overt as you used to be. That's kind of all it really feels like. I walked away from this movie wondering, was the Peter Sellers performance the only thing keeping this movie from being Clue level loved? I don't think there's anything else, because this movie is more or less, even with it being a little too silly for my taste, it's still a fun movie. Would have an audience and deserves an audience, a more contemporary audience. I think maybe the Peter Sellers thing it's got to be too much for some people. I guess it has to be.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
That's a shame. It really is a shame. Because he's not bad. It's just problematic, as we might say today.
Yeah. And I see that when it comes up on Twitter or other places, I see that. Other than the yellow face in the film, which is very disturbing, it's a laugh,
Yeah.
People recognize it and still watch it, or maybe a lot of people don't because of that.
It's too bad, because these actors all together, pretty good, pretty funny, have a lot of really good chemistry in their kind of small interactions together, like James Cromwell and James Coco, but even in kind of the broader interactions, they're all really funny. Because it's those scenes where they're all in the room together where this movie is make it or break it, right? I mean, that's what makes Clue so good, are those couple of scenes where they're all in these rooms together, kind of having these ping pong pinball dialogue where it's like bing 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 bing, just constantly interacting with each other in an interesting and kind of entertaining way. And this movie does it. I mean, even with Peter Sellers sitting there in the grossest looking yellow face, because he's like dried out corn husk of a man, like even that, he's still funny. Like it's still funny, and you laugh at what he's saying, not at him in yellow face. Yeah, it's a shame, but this is a fun movie. And if you're a fan of these characters in their literary forms, you should definitely owe it to yourself to check this movie out.
We're going to take a break to play some messages, and we will be back after that to finish up our discussion of Murder by Death and films like it, some of which we've already talked about.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Dev Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions Podcast Network.
All right, we are back and still talking about Murder by Death. And so what are some other murder mystery spoofs? Mike, we both watched The Cheap Detective. I don't know if Chris did.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right. And it's not so much a murder mystery spoof. It's just more of a noir spoof. I was kind of surprised when it opened up that it was widescreen and looked like it had a little bit bigger budget maybe. So I don't know how well Murder by Death did in the theater, but it seems like well enough to get half the cast back and continue with the same kind of Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe character with Peter Falk returning. And Whenever I watch this, I think of The Last of Sheila. I know that Knives Out films aren't a spoof, but I feel like they're playing with those tropes like this does in a different way, and also calling back specifically to this movie. The new movie has
Angela Lansbury.
Oh, yeah, that's
because she's basically Miss Marple for the 80s. And
right. And it has a little Stephen Sondheim in there, too, who helped co-write that.
Right.
I think that would be fun to do a movie with literary characters and like Columbo, because that's the thing like we mentioned with Murder Can Hurt You. It's kind of funny that Peter Falk is in this movie doing the Sam Spade thing, and then a movie that is kind of like this movie comes along that is parodying his character from something else that he's in while he's doing this. Right. He's doing his own thing as Columbo. So Burt Young doing the Columbo thing, I think we talked about it then when we did that episode. He like steals the show in that movie, almost to the same way Peter Falk steals the show here. But I think it would be interesting to do a thing now where it's literary and film or TV characters kind of all together. Because I think that's, if someone was to do this now, they would probably do it in that way, so you could kind of cover all the bases. Because now with everything being adapted, it's kind of the lines are blurred. But I don't know, I guess Glass Onion, this Knives Out Rian Johnson thing is the closest. It's not that nobody's doing this, but people are still reading these books. It's not just these movies are probably going to have a resurgence now, given that Glass Onion and Knives Out are more popular than ever. We're going to see more of this stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sherlock comes back and stuff. I'm expecting a kind of resurgence in murder mysteries, and the literary world has kind of been reflecting it. And now I think the movies and stuff we're going to see a resurgence in this kind of stuff. I really think so, which I'm honestly all here for.
Really funny. We talked on The Shabby Detective about who would make a good Columbo these days, and I brought up Natasha Lyonne, and she's going to be in the next Rian Johnson project, which is she's able to tell when people are lying to her. It's called Poker Face, and it's a new mystery series, so maybe it'll be a little Columbo-esque, but then you get that weird supernatural thing, which I'm not a big fan of. I guess, speaking of supernatural and faking and that kind of stuff, Psych might have been as close to a parody detective type of thing these days, as opposed to like the 1970s, which we're talking about with the Chief Detective and Murder by Death. 1970s were ripe with this kind of stuff. This whole idea of like High Anxiety, which was parodying all of the Hitchcock movies, The Blackbird with George Segal. I thought there was one with Richard Dreyfuss. I'm not sure if that was a parody or not. I just remember the video box cover, which made it look like it was. And then even like Foul Play. I know you're a big Fletch fan, Chris, but when I think it was right after the break with Saturday Night Live, Chevy Chase was doing, if memory serves, and remind me, Mark, I think he did 2 or 3 movies with Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
And at least one of those, and I can't remember if it was Foul Play or another one, was kind of a parody again of Hitchcock stuff, because I remember the whole thing with the cymbal crash. Okay.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite movies, again, from around this time. A little later, but
it's on my list. Like, I've heard, having gotten into these murder mystery novels, I want to watch it.
It's great.
Was that the one too with Dudley Moore?
Yes.
Oh my God, the Dudley Moore scene is amazing.
I think when I was younger, I got more of a kick out of it than I do now. It's a little dated as far as the sexuality of it and what he's trying to do with Goldie Hawn and all that. It's an understated Chevy Chase role, so it's not all the slapstick and I'm an idiot and all that stuff.
All the mugging?
Right. It's one of my favorite Chevy Chase films, and it is one that I showed my daughter and she enjoyed because we were trying to watch all these murder mysteries and clues in there as well as spoofing that. But yeah, Foul Play is maybe we'll have to do that because I love that movie.
I haven't seen it in forever. I would not be opposed to rewatching that.
I have never seen it.
Seems like Old Times is the only other one I remember, but I feel like there was another one. Maybe that was the only 2 that they did, but I think Foul Play was his first after leaving.
It was Goldie Hawn in the movie with the dog, where Chevy Chase becomes the dog.
Oh, Heavenly Dog?
I don't think so.
Is she in that one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I keep bringing that movie up. I've never seen it. It sounds like a nightmare.
I really enjoyed it.
Really? Okay. Those Chevy Chase movies are so hit or miss.
I was a big fan of all the Benji movies personally. I mean, they got a little long in the tooth as they went along, but Oh Heavenly Dog I remember really liking. The other one I just thought of that might fit in this whole detective parody thing is So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Because that ends up being pretty much a detective movie as they go along. But that's more like the modern detective where it's somebody who's not a detective who gets kind of thrust into that. I mean, it's
the Hitchcock stuff, though.
Yeah, when we talk about like film noir and stuff, there's always the reluctant detective character.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Jack Reacher is a detective, like he is. You don't want to call him that because maybe it sounds a little pastoral and a little pastiche, but whatever. He's a detective, just like Sherlock Holmes was. And like I said, I've spent so much last year. I probably spent half of the year reading these kinds of books, and it's just I wish there was more of this stuff in cinema because it does really feel TV is where a lot of it is. The cinema needs more serialized murder mysteries outside. Because again, like I know why it's popular on TV because it's so easy, but maybe I'm complaining and Knives Out exists, so that's on me, and it's my problem that I don't like the thing that it is. So that Holmes and Watson movie, great example of it's perfect.
Oh boy.
Pitch perfect. The fact that Will Ferrell is playing Sherlock Holmes, oh my God, just stroke of casting genius.
I didn't have the guts to watch that one. I can't even tell if you're lying or not.
I saw it in theaters.
Wow. And you actually liked it?
I don't remember anything about it. There's one good joke right at the end of the movie that I did laugh at. It's kind of like what they're trying to do here. They're trying to take some characters that everybody knows and do something funny with them. But the people who made it don't understand the source material. And that's one of the things you got to be able to do is understand the source material. And I think Neil Simon understands it here. And I think that's why it's such a shame that this movie doesn't get talked about more. And like why you asked, Mark, are there other ones? Because this one deserves to be mentioned along with all these other ones that we're talking about. It just really doesn't.
Yeah, you mentioned High Anxiety, and that's a direct Hitchcock spoof with very direct pulls from numerous films of his, and I enjoy that film for what it is. But if I had to choose between that kind of parody and this broader, less specific, I'm always going to choose the broader ones, which I think is, again, why I prefer Airplane to the Naked Gun films and even the episodes of Police Squad that we've talked about to the Naked Gun films. Third one that we're going to talk about in a few days here, that opening is a direct spoof of a 7-year-old movie, spoofing The Untouchables in that, instead of just a broad spoof of cop shows or cop movies. I just like it when it's broader and I can kind of fill in the blanks and say, okay, this is that. This is Agatha Christie characters. Got it. I don't need to know necessarily anything about a specific story. Just kind of roll my eyes when I see that done shot for shot of something that I already know, but with a fart joke in it or something. I don't know.
And Mark Begley just wrote epic movie, ladies and gentlemen. That's the issue, I think, at least that I have with most of these kinds of parodies is just, I watched Spaceballs last week, and that movie almost doesn't work for me because it's too goddamn Star Wars. Like, I wanted more Star Trek. Like, the stuff that they do in there that's not Star Wars specifically is the funniest stuff. Like When Will Then Be Now, all the things about Spaceballs the movie, Spaceballs the merchandise. Like, there's so much good stuff in there. But when they do like the specific Star Wars stuff, it's just like, oh my God, I want to watch anything else but this.
That's exactly how I feel. That's one of my lesser viewed Mel Brooks films because it is. I mean, I love Young Frankenstein. We've talked about, I mentioned Airplane, I think is the best parody. Probably overspoke on that. Young Frankenstein probably holds that spot. And we know what it's riffing as far as at least the first two Universal Frankenstein films. But the rest of it is so broad.
Well, I think it's also telling someone like Spencer Parsons, who's been on your show plenty, Mike, and was recently on the Culture Cast talking about Frankenstein Unbound. he loves Frankenstein, and Young Frankenstein is his favorite version of Frankenstein. And I think that's telling of what that is, right? That it can be someone's favorite version of a story, but yet also is the parody version of it that I think most people would go to as the singular parody version of Frankenstein.
Well, it tells such a story, and it tells a story that isn't told in the Frankenstein story. This whole thing of this man who's been haunted by his past, haunted by the Frankenstein name so much that he changes it to Frankenstein and all this. And just, it really takes you through this whole thing. And it's very solid. Like, even if it wasn't funny, it would be a solid script. Right. And then that it's funny and hilarious on top of it. I mean, oh my God, the Gene Hackman scene alone, so good. And it's even funnier because it's Gene Hackman, and it's Gene Hackman in 1976 or whatever it is. And it's just like, this is even better that this is in this movie. I went to see Bride of Frankenstein and I'm cracking up. It's kind of like trying to watch 0 Hour, right? I'm watching Bride of Frankenstein, and as soon as the old man comes on screen, I'm just like, oh my God. Oh, friend. Oh, yes, we'll have a smoke. And I'm just like waiting for him to like light his thumb on fire,
Wait! Where are you going? I was going to make espresso.
I didn't know for years that was Gene Hackman in that.
Oh, God,
for
he's
years.
So good.
Even though I saw his name in the credits, I'm like, who does he play?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't recognize him. Didn't even recognize his voice.
I didn't know he was in that movie, and I've only seen that movie once, so I think I should be changing.
Oh, it is so good.
You should be changing that.
Yeah.
Kenneth Mars as that inspector with the fake arm and all that, and especially when he's like cheating at darts.
That's all in those movies. He is a character in, I think, Bride again.
Yeah,
it's done so broadly, and it goes to that absurd level with that. His arm getting stuck and putting his darts in there and all that, and being used as a battering ram. It elevates itself above the original material, more so than something like High Anxiety, which is like birds shitting on me.
Yeah, the bird scene is what really gets to me. I really just didn't enjoy that very much at all. There were a couple of things, like the whole and this wasn't even a Hitchcock thing. It was a parody of Blow Up, and how he's like looking at that photo, and the photos keep getting bigger and bigger until it's like even larger than life type of thing. Oh, that looks like him in that elevator.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
That was a really good bit. I mean, Ron Carey kind of saves that movie for me with his whole carrying the luggage. I got it. I don't got it.
Ron Carey, huh?
Yeah.
Ron Carey, he's in my favorite. I'm one of those weirdos that likes History of the World Part 1, which is getting love now. History of the World Part 2?
The sequel is coming out. Yeah.
I didn't even know was a thing. I saw a thing, and it was like History of the World Part 2, and I was like, wait, what now? But again, that's broad too. That could have been these weird, specific things. And it's just, it's the fact that if you know what you want to tell your story about, it's less of a deal to make it funny than when you're doing this thing that this Murder by Death makes a case for a successful, this kind of movie that's very unsuccessful most of the time. Taking these characters and just putting them all in a room together, we have not seen very many of these movies be successful because the other ones that I've seen aren't. This one happens to be. Most of the time, it's just a go as fast as you can through as many jokes, which is essentially most of these other movies we've been talking about. Most of them aren't doing 10 of the characters in a room together, all of them kind of their own parody in and of themselves. Does that make sense? They're all parodies of something in a parody movie. Most of the movies are just a parody movie with characters in them. So Murder by Death is, I think, a little bit more impressive, but there's only 1 or 2 of these movies that really exist. Most of the other ones are these big, broad, Mel Brooksian things where you've got 8 million different jokes that you're telling, and you're trying to find a way to make them work with a plot. That's Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. This definitely has a plot. I mean, it has. Yeah. It's a tropey plot. I mean, it's the old dark house, or then there were none.
Right.
A lot of it has to do with the characters being solid and the actors portraying them being solid as well. And from what I've read, all of their rehearsals, they should have recorded their rehearsals because it was such a laugh fest.
Oh, yeah.
it's apparent that they had at least a decent amount of time to rehearse, because the timing in this, and part of that is the editing of the film, but the timing is just spot on.
They all feel like fully fleshed out characters, which is just the most impressive thing, is that they're all fully fleshed out characters that all work really well together. But again, because one of those characters is who they are, that's the ultimate downfall of the movie.
Stop talking about the nurse.
I can't help it, man. I can't help it.
Stop talking about the old lady, you
people. Yeah, right. Man, that's one of the better jokes in the movie that they just kind of use right out of the gate with the, oh no, I'm Mrs. Marbles. Like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely got me the first time I watched it as a kid, and I think it even got me on my repeat viewing 5 or so years ago. Like, she's really old. Oh wait, it's not her.
Honestly, the fact that they have those jokes with Truman Capote constantly correcting Peter Sellers, it's kind of surprising that, like you mentioned, Mark, they didn't just have the whole broken English thing as an act. It is. It almost feels like they're right there. They're right there that entire time.
It may have been a consideration. Who knows? You know, I like I said, and I have thought about this because of this problematic aspect of it. Is there is definitely an easy way to have done it differently, either with him. Yeah, I mean, he actually didn't need to be in makeup at all, for one thing, which could have been the gag. Could have been an actual Asian American actor. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You could even flip it and have Charlie Chan be Asian, an actual Asian person playing it, and have a white guy be his son. And then and even make the white guy, you could have him speaking broken English, or just like, we don't understand how this worked, or maybe your mom was stepping out on me kind of thing.
And not mention it as adopted in any way.
Exactly.
Like that whole weird thing they did on the Louis C.K. show where he had a black wife and white kids and they never discussed it. It could be like that, but better and not as problematic.
I don't know. Louis C.K.'s pretty problematic.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of the most problematic thing brought up on this episode, Peter Sellers looks tame compared to that.
Ooh, boy.
Jeez Louise.
Though I don't know, him whipping it out in front of some of his female coworkers might have been his style.
In front of Eileen Brennan.
Oh, boy.
We have mentioned her a couple times, but she's also in Clue.
Yes.
And she's great in this. I love. I mean, it's a thankless role that she has.
The most thankless role in the entire movie.
She's great.
Just being verbally abused by Peter Falk constantly.
Well, and that joke, it got even longer in the TV cut. This whole thing of like Nick and Nora stop and ask her like what's going on, and then they just drive off without her.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, okay,
that's great. What does she say?
I'm scared, Sam. Hold me.
On yourself, I'm busy.
Right.
Wait, what is he? He's like, go fall in love with the Japanese boy or something?
Yeah,
like,
right.
What the fuck? Like,
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Like, my God.
She is good in this. And that was another reason to watch Murder by Death after we watched Clue. I was like, well, she's in both of these. I think she's better in this one, but...
Oh, well, she's given more to do in this movie. Like, in the other movie, she's one of the least used characters in the other movie. She's good here. I mean, again,
she is good.
Playing just such a downtrodden character. You can't help but feel sorry for her.
Taking his abuse the whole time. And,
Well, James Cromwell and her.
Yep.
Oh,
even the nurse, kind of
so good. Yeah.
And Richard and Narita all play these like characters that are getting mercilessly belittled by their masters. So
it kind of reminds me, there was a great episode of Mystery Inc., the redo of or reboot of Scooby-Doo, one of the incarnations, where it was all the sidekicks. Like, you remember how all the Hanna-Barbera characters were drawn the exact same, and there were so many that were modeled off of Scooby-Doo. So there was like a guy that looked like Shaggy in so many different cartoons, and they would have like Jabberjaw, and there was one like the Centennial something or other. There was a ghost that was going around. There was Captain Caveman, just all of these different groups, and all of the sidekicks got separated from the rest of the group, and they had to save the gangs that they worked with, and it was really smart. I almost, to that point, it would have been interesting because all of these sidekicks are really solid actors, had they just had them like have to, if all of the detectives were getting knocked off and it was more of a 10 Little Indians or 10 Little N-words as the original title was.
Why are you? Well, okay. All right. Hold on. So now the strike of the column goes to most problematic thing. Mike, you've got it now.
Yeah. So Agatha Christie, there you go. But it like had all of those guys been getting knocked off, and then it was up to the sidekicks to solve the mystery. And then, like in Scooby-Doo, you find out that they're all actually tied up in a room someplace. They're not getting murdered, kind of thing.
Yeah. We should just write this story.
I know. Why are we not?
Story. That says like you've got the story right there. All you got to do is figure. And then it turns out at the end that one of the good guys is actually the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That's another deleted scene in this, though, is Richard Narita finds a note in Lionel Twain's hand. Says something like, I beat all you, I've solved it, or whatever. And then he opens it up and it's another receipt or something.
Right.
I just love how he is so just Southern California college student kid.
Yeah. Hey, Pop.
You know?
Holy Shanghai!
Yeah, that's great.
Someone's getting murdered in there, Pop.
Oh, he's so good. I like him and everything I see that guy in.
Oh my God, he was a staple of 70s and 80s TV.
Oh,
he must have been on every single show.
I wonder how many times he was on MASH, because they would find like a handful of Asian people and they would just be like, oh, we have to use this guy constantly.
I know he was on at least once, at the very least once.
Between MASH and Kung Fu, it was like Asian actors just had it. Like for a little bit, they're like, well, I can do MASH, I can do Kung Fu. Every once in a while, like Quincy might call kind of thing. So
and Barney Miller had their one. So
yeah, exactly. Oh, just so you know, while you guys were talking, I looked up, and Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase were only in 2 movies together. I kept thinking there was 3. Heavenly Dog was Jane Seymour, and that was actually Heavenly Dog was Benji's 3rd project he had done for the love of Benji's very own Christmas Story, which is a TV movie, and then Oh Heavenly Dog. And then he had several things afterwards, including an uncredited walk-on role in Trading Places.
2023's Benji cast coming to you from the Weirding Way Media folks, because we don't have enough to do as it is.
As if we can't get more niche.
Yeah.
How are we going to bring our woke agenda to Benji?
You know what we should do? We should create a podcast called, this is so fucking stupid, the Gary Sinise podcast. We would have we just talk about all those Gary Sinise movies you always wanted to hear people talk about.
Do you know what movie hasn't come up that I'm surprised you haven't talked about, Chris? Is Transylvania 65000. I mean, that's kind of a parody of so many of these things.
I mean, it kind of is.
An old Dark House spoof, isn't it?
Definitely.
With monsters, though? Am I getting that right? I still haven't seen it.
No real monsters.
We're not going to throw shade. We're just going to bring it up and move on.
Right.
That movie has its defenders. And if you're listening right now, you know who you are. And just leave it. Give it a rest. You're wrong.
I have fallen down a James Cromwell comedy rabbit hole, by the way. I'm just seeing him in so many things. Like he was in a 78 TV special called Peeping Times, where he played a character named Bernard Manti. Mel Brooks was Adolf Hitler, Ron Carey as Angelo Bertinelli, and David Letterman as Dan Cochran, among other people. And I'm just like, I didn't realize how many funny things James Cromwell did.
I love James Cromwell.
He's so good.
Yeah, I do too. And he's great in this.
Oh, him in LA Confidential. Oof. My God, he's amazing in that.
He gets very little to do in The Chief Detective. He's underused in that.
Almost as little as Sid Caesar, who doesn't even get to speak for a long time.
They were trying to do, again, that specificity thing by spoofing these particular scenes.
They should have stuck to like one or two of Bogart movies. Yeah.
Because you've got the Nazis come and go.
Yeah.
That whole thing with Sid Caesar is just tacked on at the end. Jonathan Banks, though, as the cabbie towards the end there, shows up again.
That was amazing to see Jonathan Banks. Yes. He was so young, had all of his hair.
It just was too spread out. Spread too thin.
like two little buns.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
As they would say.
I was waiting.
Oh, God. Yeah. You know what, though? I'm glad we watched this movie. This is a good one. And I think that the Glass Onion Knives Out crowd would definitely be into a movie like this. Even with some of the more, quote, problematic, unquote, things that it does have, I think this movie would still really be a lot of fun for a certain group of people that are still getting into these things. I mean, Columbo is super popular now. So if something like this couldn't be right in their wheelhouse, I don't know what would be. But people are really into murder mysteries again. So
I'm pretty positive he says it's one of the inspirations, at least for the first film. I'm sure quite a few people saw it when that one came out. Now that the new one's out,
yeah,
I'm trying to get the word out myself.
Rian Johnson can't make a Star Wars movie to save his fucking life, but he can make a murder mystery movie that a lot of people really liked.
Oh, yeah.
I like the first one.
I like the first one as well. I mean, I really like stuff like Brick.
Right. I knew you were going to say, don't forget. And I was like, he's going to mention Brick.
Oh, yeah. No, Brick is fucking fantastic.
Oh, for the longest time, that was like the street cred movie thing. Like you would get like street cred among a certain group of movie fans by being like, hey, have you guys seen Brick? It was like the high school film noir movie of your like indie film dreams of the mid 2000s. When people would say, who the fuck is Rian Johnson? I would say Brick is an amazing movie. I just don't know why they hired him to make a Star Wars movie. Because like he had the wrong kind of person to make the wrong kind of movie. I get his heart was probably in the right place, whatever. But if he's a fan of this kind of stuff, which he clearly is, given what he cut his teeth on, should be making more stuff like this. Again, Knives Out was whatever. I'm glad people like it because hopefully the new one is better than the last one and I'll like the new one more.
I'm fine if he wants to make more movies like Looper as well. I really enjoyed the hell out of that one.
Rian Johnson is better suited to stuff like this, where the expectation is to subvert your expectations. Like Murder by Death, the ending of the movie subverts your expectations for what the movie's trying to do, which is why the ending didn't really work for me. And Rian Johnson, in a murder mystery, you have to constantly be subverting your expectations. That's what twists are, right?
Oh boy, oh boy. I mean, that whole meltdown about Glass Onion that Ben Shapiro had, where he just doesn't understand what mysteries are, that was just the best thing. I'm just like, wow, you just don't know how this works.
He wouldn't like this one. He wouldn't like this one.
He would not like Murder by Death at all.
But you got mad about Glass Onion?
Yeah,
because the first half is a
there are
fake out.
twists. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you
Hello to
something.
mystery writing.
He would probably, I mean, has he ever seen Psycho? He's like, we spent so much time with this Marion Crane character and she never comes back. It's like,
Scream, Psycho, these movies, you would not like them. The beginning character dies within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. It's like, what have you heard of a narrative storytelling here? Like,
oh God.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, oh my God, can you watch that first season? That at the end, he just loses his mind.
There's so many movies that it wouldn't work for him.
You know what?
Did you know that Bruce Willis was dead the entire time?
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you something. Rosebud was the name of a sled. The entire time it was a sled, not a creature, not a human, a sled. Like, what? You're just grasping at this point. If you want to get offended, there's plenty to get offended about when Peter Sellers has yellow face on. But don't get mad that there's a fake out in a movie, because don't watch Saint Elsewhere then.
Oh boy.
Ben Shapiro. Mother of God.
Oh yeah.
That's the most egregious example.
You want to get mad about gay baiting and everything else, fine. But like getting mad about people's narrative choice is just, God, whatever, man. Ugh.
Alrighty. Anything else about Murder by Death?
Check it out. Kino or somebody, take a chance on it.
I want to say it got a release in the last couple of years, but I could be wrong. I didn't bother to look that up, but I want to say either it did or is going to.
Well, they haven't asked me to do the commentary, so I don't care.
Mike White, who Mike, they might now know that you've done self-professed yellowface. They might.
Yeah, Shout Select.
Okay.
Which also had a conversation with Neil Simon, new audio commentary by Lee Gambin, friend of the projection booth.
Great.
Theatrical trailer photo gallery does not say the deleted scenes or scenes for television, unfortunately.
I would like to see that.
There's no
television
alternate
edit.
cut either, huh?
No, those scenes are out on YouTube. I actually put one in the chat. So the
okay, I'm going to check this out. I should have thought of that earlier. I always forget to do that.
I forget as well. Because it's piracy. I want to support the proper disc companies and
yes, very true, very true. That is a good point.
Right.
Yes, we work within the system here.
Yes, exactly.
Weirding Way Media.
I did not watch this movie on a. Never mind.
just out ourselves.
Right.
So when
I always have to cut comments about my out, so I'm going to force you to do it now.
Oh boy!
Everybody always brings it up. All the Chris
I try not to. But I do.
And I always have to cut that shit out of my show. So here you go, Mark. You get to cut this out.
Remind me to tell you about the other day after we're done recording.
I can't wait. Boy. For future Mark, this is where you can stop cutting.
I'm leaving all this in. So, when you're not talking about murder mysteries that confound you, Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me along with a whole raft of things over at weirdingwaymedia.com. That is the podcast network that, this lovely gentleman here, Mike White, and I created to, house all the stuff that we work on, including this show right here that you're listening to, right, Mr. Bagley?
What? Yes, I like how Mike waved to the audience there. That was
yes.
Cute.
Well, but when Chris is like, this gentleman, I'm like, is he pointing at me?
And then I pointed at Bagley. This guy right here.
I don't know who's situated where, because Mike's down here and you're over here. Anywho, how about you, Mr. Mike White?
I'm on that raft that Chris was talking about of shows. I'm there, and I'm riding the raft down the rapids and rapidly coming out with new episodes of the Projection Booth every single darn week. So catch me at weirdingwaymedia.com or projectionboothpodcast.com.
And you can find Wake Up Heavy on the weirdingwaymedia.com website as well, wakeupheavy.com. You can find me at Wake Up Heavy on all those social media sites. Speaking of shows on weirdingwaymedia.com, you can check out our new 10-week limited series show on Police Squad, which is available now and will come out weekly for the next 8 or 9 weeks after this. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a good night.
You need a catchphrase.
Well, I actually do. I forgot it.
What was your
name? Don't forget.
Hey, don't forget to wake up heavy.
I already told you I'm ready to go fuck your mother.
Yeah, there you go. Bing.
Bang, pow.
Oh, I wish I was big just once. Henry, you saw him. You tell him.
No, you said funny.
Anything can happen when you wake up heavy. Ho, 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 ho.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.